Hello, I'm Tara Brabazon. I'm the Dean of Graduate Research at Flinders University, and welcome to Vlog 27, How to Write Job Applications. And can I say a big greetings from Western Australia. I'm currently in Western Australia because I'm representing you, and I'm representing Flinders University at an IRU meeting, an Intensive Research Universities meeting, and it is lovely to be home. It's a home I very rarely visit. I get to see my parents, my friends, my family in Western Australia about twice a year, and I think we learn a great deal about the nature of academic life and the academic workplace from this story, because you see, we spend most of our lives away from our homes. I've worked in 9 universities in 4 countries. I've worked in 4 of the Australian states, and it is a tough life, but it is also an incredibly rewarding life, and I'm always very well aware every single day about the gift of an academic job, because they are incredibly difficult to get. So today I'm going to talk about how you get that academic job, particularly through the configuration of an academic job application. And as I always am with you all, I'm going to be incredibly honest. And when I was prepping this vlog, I wanted to start with one particular story that has stayed with me throughout my career, and it has a Western Australian link. My first PhD student was a wonderful woman. She completed her PhD in 3 years. She was an outstanding teacher on and offline, and still is, and at the point she was applying for academic posts, she had completed 17 refereed articles. Now, we all know there are some A and B level academics that don't have 17 articles, but she did, and she had applied for this post, did a fantastic job application, and was doing incredibly well. She was shortlisted. And it's funny, you know, what we remember in life. And I remember this wonderful woman had bought herself a new suit for the interview. She'd bought a new bag, she bought new shoes, she looked fantastic, and she delivered an absolutely outstanding job interview. She was amazing. Phoned me straight after and said, "Tara, I've nailed it, I did a fantastic job, I'm going to get this." And I was going, yes, which is fantastic. And about an hour later, I got a second call from her, sobbing. She was absolutely sobbing, and she'd stated she'd just heard from the head of the panel, and they told her that she wasn't appointed. She was the best candidate, but she wasn't appointed because they went with a PhD student of the head of department. Well, at least you could say they were honest. These days, probably that statement wouldn't have been made, because you'd have a lawyer on speed dial and you'd be contacting the Vice-Chancellor of that university very, very quickly. But this story, I think, is indicative of some challenges that we have in the higher education sector. Ladies and gentlemen, we don't know how many jobs are available and are never advertised. We also don't know how many jobs are advertised and are already filled. We will never know that. And I could present a vlog today that's incredibly depressing, with the catalogue of traumas and dreadful situations that I have seen in academic life, but that's not helping anybody. I need to keep you positive, and I need to make sure that you are well presented for every single post that you apply for. We have to assume that every post is open and you will get every post. We have to assume that. Now, yes, some jobs are set up. There is no doubt about that. But can I also tell you another story? I know an amazing post where only 2 people applied for that post, and one of them pulled out between being shortlisted and doing the interview. So only one person was interviewed, and they got it. And to be frank, that person is very mediocre. And when I say mediocre, I mean I probably wouldn't trust them to do my grocery shopping. Okay, so every now and again you never know which jobs actually don't have a field and you're going to get that post. We don't know. So every single time you put in an application, I need to make sure on your behalf that it is a winner. So today we're going to get you there. How do we produce successful job applications? Let's do this. Job number 1. Present your strengths at the start of the application. So this is a key point. When selection panels or committees start to assess applications, our number 1 job is to cull as many people out as quickly as possible. So we have to get basically 2/3 of everybody that's applied for that post, we have to cull them in the first round. So if there's any weakness in research or in teaching or in qualifications, bang, thanks for playing, you are gone. So that cull, that first cull, is a tough one. It's ruthless. Errors are made when it happens, but I have to provide a way and some information for you to stop you being culled first. So what you have to do is right at the start, in the first paragraph of your covering letter, you need to present your absolute strengths. Explain why you are a rock star. Explain to them why you need to still be in the party. This is really important, okay? So the first paragraph of the covering letter, that's probably what's scanned and read first. So make sure you keep yourself beyond that first cull, because then you're probably in the top 10, the top 20. So the question is then how you move from that first cull, so the top 20, through to a short list. Well, let's do the rest. Point 2. Don't admit weakness. This is a job application. That means it is an advertisement for you and an advertisement for your career. So don't use phrases like, I haven't really published in that area, I haven't done that, and while I don't have that direct experience, never use mitigating phrases or passive voice like that. Instead, for every single criteria that they are looking for, explain how something you've done in your career connects with that criteria. Now, certainly, never lie. Ever lie. Never lie, never make excuses. But what I'm suggesting to you is present your best self and find a way to connect your prior history, working professional history, with what they require from that post. So be positive and focus on what you have done rather than what you haven't done. 3, and this one's for Vicky. Hi Vicky. 3, don't be worried about any gaps. Don't be worried about any gaps. All of us have fantastic years in our career. All of us have some lean years in our career. And further, nobody is successful in teaching and research and administration and community service and leadership every single year of their career. So don't worry about gaps. Everybody has gaps. The key is that you explain why the gaps have happened. Also, don't mask a gap by doing bonkers stuff, which I've seen, removing the years of publications or removing the years of teaching experience. Don't do that. But also, please don't assume everybody has a perfect career. Nobody has a perfect career. What people are interested in is saying, right, there's a gap. You need to explain that gap, and most importantly, show how you self-corrected. What I love is resilience. Show to me how you learn, you are resilient, and you self-correct in your career. Bang, that's important. 4, supply what is asked of you. You are going to be assessed on the university's evaluative criteria. So not your successes independently configured, but actually what they require of you. So if they want a teaching philosophy, if they want examples of curriculum, then you need to supply that. Stress your strengths, yes, but also remember, in many systems you are actually being given a grade for the way in which you answer each evaluative criteria. So that means if you answer the criteria well, you get an A, okay, B, not too good, C. And then those results are brought together as a committee, and the people that get all the A's, they're the ones that are interviewed, yeah? So if you just forget about addressing a particular evaluative criteria, then you get a C and you are gone at that point. So make sure everything that they are asking for, you provide. The North American system is very transparent in this way. They ask for cleanly a CV, a covering letter, teaching philosophy, research philosophy, and also letters of recommendation. So that's the suite, the portfolio that you provide in North America. In Australia and Aotearoa New Zealand, we tend to embed those characteristics into the criteria, the selection criteria. Therefore, if you have some months or you're a couple of years away from applying for a post, as most of you are, that's why we're doing this nice and early for you, what I want you to do is start quietly preparing your teaching philosophy, your research philosophy, your research vision. Just start to open a file on your computer and write some notes down about what you think is important in teaching and learning and what is important in your research career. Also, start to develop your referees. We'll talk about that in a second. 5, details matter. Do not think for one moment that spelling, grammar, formatting, getting those bullet points in line, that stuff doesn't matter. That stuff is crucial. We are assessing you on form as much as content. So, for example, if I'm hiring you to be a first-year lecturer, I need to see that you've got attention to detail, okay? Because you're going to be putting 450 marks into Blackboard's grade centre. And if you can't get your bullet points straight, I have to ask the question, are you going to be able to manage that scale of result and that scale of administration with integrity and with attention to detail? So get those details right. 6, monitor Professor Google. We can, I hope, assume that selection committees read your application and read your CV, but we would be incredibly foolish to assume that they didn't also then Google you. So make sure your Google is well curated and it's tended. What I would advise as quickly as possible is put your articles in the RMIS, the Research Management Information System. So get all your articles in the RMIS and then click that link to ORCID. Really important. And guys, I'll be doing this between now and Christmas as well, so we can do it together. I have 220 refereed articles to enter in the Flinders RMIS system. Okay, so then at the end of it, the day before Christmas, I'm going to click the link to ORCID. So start to monitor those details. Use academia.edu, use Twitter, make it as easy as possible for selection committees to find your good work. 7, remember as quickly as you can to place yourself in the position as a member of the committee. Now, this is a really important tip. Whenever we write job applications, we have a tendency to focus on ourselves. Look at me, I, and that's fine. You are presenting your best self. But what I would really suggest to you is think about yourself from the perspective of the selection committee. So remember, they are looking for a good teacher, a good researcher, but also a good colleague. So start to think about how a selection committee would read your application. Do you look like a good colleague? Also remember, there's always one member of a committee, of these search committees, that is from outside the faculty. These are really important people. So don't use jargon, be as clear and precise in your language as possible, because those external representatives on those committees often help make the decision. So get the jargon out, be clear and precise in your language. 8, here it is. You have to be able to guarantee that your referees will support you. Here we go. People lie. Academics lie a lot. And the lies of academics cost us time, cost us jobs, cost us hundreds of thousands of dollars. So I put that out there. So a whole series of people around the world may talk the talk that they support you, but it is amazing, it is horrifying how often a bad referee report can destroy your chance to get a job. And the weird thing is, you don't know that it's happening. Just job after job after job, you appear not to be getting it because the referee is writing you a bad reference and they're not telling you that they're writing you a bad reference. So you have to make sure that you completely 100% trust your referees, that every single time they are asked to write your reference or talk on the phone, that they will support you 100%. If you have any doubt, never use that person. Now, ethical referees, and I count myself in that number, if we feel we can't support you 100%, then we will tell you. We'll use a phrase like, I don't think I can support you at this time. So when somebody says that, do not use that, because they're being decent, they're being ethical, they're doing the right thing by you by saying, look, I can't support you completely. There are some issues I would have to disclose. So be as sure as you can that the referee will support you. Any doubts, do not use that person. Having said that, a referee with an international reputation is a brand. And if they support you, you will get that job. So my work is known around the world. If I say I'm one of the best teachers in the world, so if I say this person is an outstanding teacher, magnificent online work, great understanding of multimodality, outstanding interdisciplinary researcher, beautiful dovetailing between teaching and research, you'll get that job. So try and get some really great international referees that have integrity and are known for that around the world. Important. 9. Now it gets a bit sad. Ask for feedback if you are unsuccessful. Okay, this is incredibly difficult and you might not be able to manage it, but if you can, it will help you enormously. If you are unsuccessful, ask the head of the committee for feedback. Now, decent, good, honest people will give you good, decent, honest feedback. Will tell you what you're doing incredibly well and the areas in which you could work to make yourself more competitive next time. Now, always remember, there's a proportion, we don't know if it's large or small, but there is a proportion of jobs that have been given to mates. So when you ask the head of the committee for feedback, they're going to be protecting themselves. So the feedback you receive from those particular cases is often hyper-personal, a bit nasty, a bit catty, and certainly very, very rude. So it's about squashing you down, making you feel small so that you won't appeal or you won't put the dice together, you won't work out what's occurring, that actually they've hired a mate. So all of it is about crushing you and making you feel small. But if someone is decent and ethical and they've moved through an ethical process, then they will tell you, this is why we made this choice, this is how you were competitive, and this is the area that you should work on in future. Now, when I'm doing that, I always phone the unsuccessful candidates. I phone them. That's really important. I spend 2 hours gathering the notes for each of the unsuccessful candidates, and they can have as much of my time as they want. We sit down and we ask, what do you need to know? This is what happened. This was the decision. Now, what else can I do to help you going forward? Okay? So there's plenty of chairs of committees out there who care about you. Yes, we made a decision for somebody else, but let us help you for next time. So try and get feedback. 10. Remain resilient. It is incredibly shocking to put in a job application and to be knocked back. It feels like rejection because it is rejection, and there's no way to pretty that up or to feel better about it. But if it helps, please remember, so many jobs that are advertised are already filled. You didn't have a chance in the first place. And also, this is important for you, particularly for early career researchers. Guys and gals, when an organisation is advertising for an A-level academic or a lecturer throughout much of the rest of the world, they're not terribly interested in you. they have a problem to solve. They have a couple of subjects that they need taught in this particular area. They might have a problem with their ERA ranking. They may have a problem with their REF ranking, and they need a particular area of research filled or plugged. They need a problem solved. So in many ways, the job application is not about you at all. It is about whoever they hire solving their problems. Okay, so if you weren't hired, it may not be about you, it may be about your fit with the organisation. The key is to recognise that if you keep on doing great work, putting together a great CV and job applications, you will get a job. You will get a job. And there are certainly plenty of people on the planet that hire mates. We all know that. But it's our job, and what I want for all of you is that we make sure this doesn't happen in higher education. My dream is I want an open and a transparent process for every single job that comes up in higher education. I want accountability. I want governance. I want every single post to be given to the best candidate that applies for it. Full stop. But what we have to do before we can change the system is get you into the system. And we do that by making you competitive through job applications. I hope today has been useful. All my love to Laurie. Congratulations, Laurie. We're thrilled with you. And I wish you, as always, love, light and peace. And a big love and big hug from my old home, Western Australia.